Alright, so welcome on everybody. Last time we pretty much added in the sign in with Apple feature to our modernized Gleaner app. And now today we're adding make it that people can add comments to different articles. So if you look on like the news and like see I look on the article, we want to make it that like, yeah, you read this, but more than likely you have something you want to mention about it. So I'll make it that people can add comments on the different articles and we'll use Firebase to do that. So just a refresher, so this is the app that we have here. We have a tab for news, entertainment, sports, world, settings. And last time we made it that you could sign in with Apple. So what we're going to do now, as I said, is make it that people can add comments. And to do that, we're going to use Firebase. So in the last video, we already hooked up Firebase. So if you're not familiar with that, just check out the previous video. Now, the only thing that we have to do right now is just tell it that, well, we have Firestore, tell the AI we have Firestore hooked up, and tell it that we want to be able to allow users to can add comments. So let's just here. Alrighty. When a user, so I'll have to track the user first. So when a user logs in with sign in with Apple, we use Firestore to store the user information. So that's the first part. So whenever I'm logging with, so we'll still add the comments, but we also need to be able to track users so we can see which user add comment, right? So before we add the comments, we'll have to be able to track the user. So well, this is a boom. Either way, always like once the user sign in, we want to save them to a database, right? So that way, user can change their name, their username, their profile picture, all that. So yeah, so I already have that. For user, we use Firestore to store user information. Alright, yeah, so that should be good. So just hit enter, and you know we can pretty much add in those changes. So in the meantime, what we can do is starting to do some work here. In the meantime, what we can do is go over to Firestore again. Firebase, sorry. And then we're going to go to Google. And then remember the name of our project, hit this. And then all we have to do is go down to the Firestore right here. So, or it might be database and then Firestore, whichever one yours is. If you use it frequently, it'll be better. And then you have to click create a database. So, click that. You can do the standard edition, hit next. This to keep the location as is, hit next. And we are going to launch this to production. You can do it in start in test mode or in production mode. For the sake of the video, let's just do in test mode and then we'll switch it to production mode. So hit create. Nice. And then pretty much this will be like a database. Every time a user gets created, you'll see something appear here. But we'll call it a collection. So it will be a collection of users. The wording sounds weird, but no worries with it. Now this other section over here, when you have rules, these are basically your rules to your database. Like you can make it that a person can only add something to your database if they're signed in or authenticated and things like that. So let's go back over to Xcode since we already have Firebase part set up. And we'll see like to do some work. Let's just do a quick summary again. So let me read the existing Now I have a clear picture. I'll update Auth Manager to save user data to Firestore after a successful app signing. So as soon as user signing, I'll save them to Firestore. Now admin add Firebase, Firestore, no capture full name before task. Let's see. Alright, it said error. Let's do a quick compile check. So when you try to compile, it had an error in Auth Manager. I know we just said error means Firebase is added in the project by SPM, but hasn't been linked to the app target, blah, blah, blah. So let's just go over here. So we're going to leave the AI section, right? Click on this, right here. Click on General, so the target one, and then click on General. And then to the frameworks right here. So we haven't added that yet, so this is how you can do it. So Firebase, Firestore, and this is what we need right here. Sometimes I add both of these and combine. So I add both of them this time. Okay, and because we're gonna be using the AI much, let's just drag this over some more. Okay, I'm gonna say it. Okay, I added Firebase Firestore to frameworks. Alright, so now it should be able to continue. Let me recheck the diagnostics now. And I'm coding with AI. So it's still kind of saw Airboy saying like, yo, let me do a full build just to make sure it's everything good. I feel like once it does the full build, because we just added that, we might just need to refresh on stuff. So once it do the full build, which should be good. So you see the build project now. I hope everything proper. Alright, build succeeded, so that's good. And it said the Firestore integration is working, is fully working. When a user signs in with Apple, their data will be saved user's UID. Okay, so one thing to remember, we have rules for our database. And right now our rules make it that anybody can add anything. So if we go here, you see, this is our rules. And remember to get there, you just go over here to rules. Alright, and it said allow read or write. And read is who can look on stuff from our database, and write is basically who can add things to our database, write things to our database. I would say anybody can read and write, as long as the date in the past is, right? So not the most secure thing, but we are going to improve that. But let's just test it out now, and let's see if we can add a user to our database. So I hit run, and then boom. We'll simulate to open up right here. I'll minimize this so we can just focus on this. So now I need this out. Alright, I know I'm gonna try and sign in. Alright, so it was signing right there. But what really matter is, yo, is it really hooked up to the database? So we'll go back to Firestore, right? And we can go over to the data. And we'll see that it's this new thing here called users, right? And then you can go over to the part was a document. It's like some weird type of ID. And now you see some information about the user. It's like email, the date signing, and something called UID. Now, this might look a little weird here, but how this works is that like this is basically a database. So you have a database of users, and then each user have an ID, a unique ID. Because remember, two users can have the same name, so we need a way how to identify them uniquely. So we'll just create a unique ID, almost like a social security number, somewhere unique to represent them. So this is our database. So if we had more users, you would still see one users here, like it's for the database or collection. But inside here, you would have different IDs to represent each user's information. Now, if you can get all that, just know that all we do is basically make it that once you sign in, we'll store user information. And the information we'll store is the date created, the email, the sign in, and some unique way to identify. Now, what we want to check also is authentication. So we should also see a new user is authenticated here. So we're looking at authentication, we'll see, and we'll see the way the user is signed in. And if you check it, the user ID here is the same, and you can't really see it on my IDs, well, my IDs, is the same as the one over here. See? So now that's good, right? So now we have a way of representing each user. Perfect. So now what we can do now is make it that each user can add a comment, right? Because now we have a way of identifying each user. So let's just go back over to Xcode. We can stop this, right? And then let's just look on the app first before we even start build this. So we'll go over to the Gleaner again. And then we want to make it that a user can comment on any article. So say the Nyasa, right? I want to make it that you can add a comment. So maybe we can make it like have two sections, like article, and then another section with the comments. Or we can make it that the comments are right here to the bottom. But we don't usually want to scroll all the way, so I feel like a separate section or pickup would work. So let's go over to Xcode. And we'll say, oh, okay. Add a way for users to add comments to different articles in the app using Firestore to store them. To store it, right? And we can say use the UID, but you already know, we can say use the UID to identify each person so we can get the right information of each person. But I think it will handle this, just watch, automatically. So add a way for users to add comments to different articles in the app using Firestore to store the comments, right? One thing to more add a picker, so more make it that you can switch between. So you can switch to the summary article and you can switch over to the comment section. Alright, so I'm the new line. And our user picker, the picker to allow user to switch to comments section or comment section or the view article section, whatever way you call it. Alright, and just enter. And we'll just make that do its thing for it. Now, one thing we don't do, you see, like, I do this, like, look on the UI, and like, look on the app, make them change the top card. You could have did all this from the terminal, like the command line, but we're not really do it that way because I love to see, as my build, my see what my build. So we're not necessarily do it that way. Alright? Alright, and we'll just drag this over. And see that do it things. I'm going to read the relevant files and understand the current structure. So if I do it analysis first and then I'll start writing code. Alright, so now I read the views them so we gotta change. Alright, so if I'm at the comment screen right now, and try to do all the other changes. Because remember we have like multiple different tabs, and each of them need to be able to add comments. So they're all going to take them in parallel. Like I said, pretty much right here. Alright, say that again. Now rewrite all 5 detailed views in parallel. So instead of one by one, each of them you have to see every time. Much faster. Alright, so it's already made a change to the news detail view, the sports detail view, entertainment detail view. And if we just look at the code, you're not really understanding the code, but it's some glowing part here. That's the part of the AI has changed recently. Alright, so let's just drag this over. Don't want to get nervous at the code. Alright, so now I just have to build the project. Hopefully everything proper. But we have to verify it. So it's a build failed, and it actually sees 19 errors. And as a no cloud, what you're going to do is like to actually check each error and try and resolve them. So it's a 2 issues, comments view, need to import combine for observable object. Yeah, that happens. Alright, so it's a build succeeded. Alright, and just like with the summary, again, when you know, so yeah, you can just pause the video and check out the summary. It did also update the Firebase rules, so it said one important note, you need to add Firebase security rules to allow authenticators to read or write in comments. The Firebase console rules are these. So it kind of give you a wish, right? You can just copy this. Right? And then, so before running, you can just go over to Firebase and just go over to the rules section. And sometimes it doesn't give you like everything. It doesn't give you like a part of it. So let's just go down here. And then put that right here. Now, I just need to format this a little bit. Alright. So now just it's gonna create an articles collection, and then basically for each article ID, you can make a comment. So remember, every article is gonna be able to have its own comments if needed. Yeah, and that'll be like basically, if that is the case, then you can allow, you can read, anybody can read, but to create an article, it said you need to be authenticated. So that's why you say request that auth is not equal to null. So you can't not be authenticated or not logged in to create a comment. So let's just publish this. And then we'll go back over to Xcode and actually run the app. Alright, and now let's just click on an article. And notice the first article section over here, right? And you see the comments part over here. And now first though, let's just make sure we're signed in. So we are signed in, so let's just go back over to the article. Go to comments. I'm gonna go like, that's comment. Alright. Hit enter. We do see the comment appear here. If we go over here and come back, it's still there, which is good. But if we go to a different tab, this is just you just doing extra testing just to make sure everything will work. So click it there, same way. Now let's just make sure it's not showing on other articles, right? You see? We're not seeing it, we're only seeing on the right article. Now what we want to do is check with the database, right? To make sure that everything's saved correctly. So make sure you're in the Firestore and then go over to data. And now you see this new collection or area for data, whatever you want to call it, articles. And you see use the name of the article, and then it has a comments collection on there. Because remember, multiple users can add a comment. And then so the ID, the name of the article, the group of comments under that article or collection of comments, and then ID for each comment. And now we can see the information by for each user that made that comment. So you see it's my name, it's my UID, because that's the best way to identify you. And then you'll see the actual comment that I made. Now, if I went to, let's go back to this, and let's just make another comment. Let's try on a different tab. And let's do music. I'm like, yeah, big up the River Boys. Big up the, big up the Reggae Songfest, my bad. Big up Reggae Songfest. Enter, right? Sometimes what will happen is it doesn't load right away. So you notice I'm not seeing that new thing here, because I should see a new one, because remember, this is still the old original article. It might not refresh automatically, it might have to refresh the browser. And then, now you still see this new section, this new comment under this article. I remember it's the same name, Reggae Songfest, so you kind of use the name as the ID for the article, and then we can see each comment under that article. And then we can get the comment and see text, big up Reggae Songfest. And that's how we are pretty much getting the data from a remote server, you know? And now basically, yeah, so now users can be on the list, add comments if they don't like the article, whether they don't like the article. It provides a way to give feedback to the user, keeps them coming into the app actually. So yeah, I definitely feel like yeah, it would be dope. It would be really good if like an actual app like Gleaner app actually had this feature, so you can actually comment on an article, get some more feedback, stuff like that. And remember, it's restricted, so you have to be logged in to be able to add these comments, right? So let's just sign on. Let's just set it. Let's just sign on, and we will go over to one of them now. And you notice we don't even have the tab bar, the search bar to even sign in. You can only view comments at this point. You can't really sign in right now. So I click on this. Same thing. You need to be logged in. And if I should go back now and log in, probably you don't want just random people that add comments like anything, because you might get like a bag of bots, you know, bag of fake accounts. You don't want that. You want real people that add real comments. Yeah. Let's just log in. Tyler too fast to tell around too. Alright, so I'm logged in now. If I go to one article and I go to the comments, you can see I can add a comment, and I'll just be like, be natural. Hit that. And again, we don't see it if we go back further up, we don't see it right here, but we know that that just be because we need to refresh. So if we refresh it, now we'll see the new one that we added. Oh, that's all it takes over. And then you click on comments, go over, then you pretty much see what you added. So just like that, that's how we make it. We add a commenting feature to our modernization of the Gleaner app. And as I see, never too crazy. If you're a little bit lost, I would definitely recommend that you look at the previous videos and just try and get an idea of what we're doing. But yeah, if you have any comments, just add your comments. I remember like, comment, share. I remember the motto, anyone can learn anything with time, practice, and failures. All right, I'm out.